We'll talk about cybersecurity and operational risk in the fintech industry, which is something that we are going to discuss with Luis Daniel Zamudio Salazar, a cybersecurity and risk consultant. He will enlighten us on the cybersecurity and operational risk in the fintech industry and share holistic risk awareness approaches, strategies for threat detection and response, and insights into compliance and regulations. I guess there will be even more information to come. Luis, welcome on stage.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the warm welcoming. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Well, first, I'm going to talk about cybersecurity and operational risk. The talking is going to be quite different. So firstly, I want you to forget about negative things about cybersecurity and operational, and then we'll go deeper in this talk, right? Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Daniel. I'm certified in CSP, CISA, CSM, CEH, ETL COVID. Here's my LinkedIn profile if you want to follow me or chat directly. I'm always open to discuss anything. Okay, thank you. Well, okay, when we think about impact and about cybersecurity and operational risk, and even if you go to any web browser and search engine, you will find these kind of concepts and all these concepts like malware attacks, money laundering, data integrity, third-party security risk, data leakage. And if you, when you're searching this and you're researching on this and you add the word fintech, really it's the same. So my point here is in fintech, you are facing some risk and some issues that are feasible to all companies right now. I mean, which company is not facing malware attacks, money laundering, third-party risks, technology risk, data leakage? We are all facing this, right? And there is a lot of information here. But what makes interesting about this point, it's that when you think about solution and you read all the papers, all the information that is disclosed in the internet, and all about from companies and recognized firms talking about this, you will find always the same solution. And this solution has been taken into account like for the last 10 or 15 years, and it's always the same. Implement digital identity solution, straighten access control, implement technology. Now we don't call anti-malware solution. Now we call EDR, MDR, MDM, and zero trust, and whatever technology you want to talk about, it is always the same solution about this. And this solution, it's when you read this solution for fintech companies and to other companies like hospital, health industry, banking, and other services, it's like the same solution and the same problems. There may be no difference that you can really find. So my point right here is that we are not facing how fintech and startups company really works and how we can approach, or how is the correct approach to fix this solution in cybersecurity and operational risk. Okay, and I'm starting with this question: how many of us hasn't read about this question? It's like a pragmatic question that everybody goes by the book, and the answer is always the CISO needs to report to the business, right? Not to any person on technology, because they have many competing goals. They can prioritize some IT services over cybersecurity. And when we talk about, for example, the CEO, it always says by the book that when you report to the CEO, you demonstrate a commitment to cybersecurity as in three aspects: tactically, operationally, and strategically, right? But reality, for me, in my experience, it's that in a fintech company, this doesn't always work and this doesn't always happen. For me, the real question is how can you achieve effective tracking and communication with all those C-level and all with those figures inside the company? I mean, going from the CEO to the C-level, even to the compliance officer, with the local regulator, an auditor, and going on a lower level with a developer, with a DevOps leader, with a QA leader. How can you achieve this effective tracking and communication? And this is a very good challenge because in a fintech company, you are involved in a fast changing environment, in a company that is focused on product and innovation and cost optimization, as previous talk we have here. The environment is very agile. There are changes in technology, in cost, in people, in roles, in duties. Not many times you have segregation of duties. That it's one of the most main principles in information security. You don't have this. And for information security, this is quite difficult to deal with these topics that are quite different in a banking industry or in any more mature company. So this is the challenge, and most of the time the reality is that also we as information security guys are not aware of these things. We are not aware because we come from a different training, and also, for example, the regulator seems not to be aware of how different is working in a fintech company using cloud, APIs, microservices, and again, these aspects of these priorities that we have been talking here. So, for me, this is the real question: how a CISO can achieve this effective tracking and communication, right? So, during the last 5 years, I have been working as a cybersecurity and risk consultant, and we have been implementing a quite different focus and point of view for information security, and we have gained some interesting results. So I know that if maybe somebody who is hearing this talk is from information security, maybe is having a heart attack with this first idea of a CISO reporting to the CTO or the CIO or any role in charge of technology. And yeah, it goes against any book, but at least for early stage in fintech company, we have seen that it really works. It is really helpful. And why yes, and let's forget about the why not. The first one is because as a fintech company, all your product and changes, and even like in the previous talk we heard, cost is helped by technology, right? So why yes? Because you will be involved in all product changes, right? And all product changes are related or rely in technology, and that means that you will be involved in all technology changes, and you will have all this tracking that you need to be involved in the whole company. Product, technology, the two aspects that make fintech company works, right? But now, okay, let's imagine that, okay, you now report to the CTO, to the CIO, or any role that is in charge for technology. Now, it comes to the CISO or to the information security guy responsible to know really how to achieve this, right? And I have three main aspects that I'm sure that that we have proved that are working. The first one is the mindset change, that is focusing positive things. Let's be honest, when we talk about the cybersecurity guy or the information security guy, the CISO, or whatever role you want to put it on, it is like the no guy. Hey, chief, we need to release this feature. We need to do it now. No, there is this risk. We can live like here. We are not compliant here. We have a risk here. We can have an incident in that part. We can have a data leakage. Always the information security guy is seen like the no person, always saying no. Okay, so it's important for us to change this mindset from information security and try to focus in positive things. Okay, the second one, it's make everybody your friend. Maybe your friend or the word friend sounds quite funny, but the idea is that you need to be in really communicating with everyone in the company. Try to understand what they are doing. Try to understand the problems that they are solving. As we got again, I think that previous talk are very aligned with this. Engineers are working to release very fast. The financial officer is leading with optimizing cost. Product managers are trying with innovation, with compliance, with financing, with cost. So you need to be part of that positive and that empathic point of view, not just the person that says no. And the last one that we have put in place and that has worked very good is to train and aware the C-level. Okay, I know that always train and aware it's viewing like the user. It's a layer 8 fail. The user is the most weakest element in chain. It's always the user. But let's get real. Sometimes in the fintech industry, the C-level it's not really aware of the importance of information security. They do it and they implement it because maybe it is a part of the regulator and the local authorities is asking, but the really is that they need to be trained. Okay. And how can we do this, and how this is perceived from outside and internally? It's very interesting for me. For example, when you search for like a funny thing that like this, that I see risk everywhere. There are a lot of images with scaring attitudes, fearing risk, cyber. Nobody want to think about cyber risk because always it is a stopper. In a fintech company, it doesn't really need to have a stop. Really, what a fintech company needs is to improve, to get the business and the security working together right now by the book say. So again, we need to focus in positive. And for me, it's funny even how when you look for something like I see improvements instead of I see risk, the expression and you can find it's really aligned and very similar, no? Like we can see words in here like unemployment line, shock results, side projects, accidents, and yeah, that's improvement. You need to sometimes to make some mistakes to get to the improvement and to see that there are some risk in there. What I want to get with this point is that from an information security perspective, we need to stop saying no to anything. But at the same time, we need to put in the shoes of the other person to see what they are trying to do. A very good example for this is like many of the fintechs right now operates in cloud environment, right? And from an information security perspective and all the controls that is in baseline, it always is like, and what is going to happen with the information that is stored and processed in the cloud? Who is responsible for that information? How do you assure that the third party of this vendor of cloud storage is not accessing that information? And there are many concerns about cloud. From an information security, this could maybe no. We can go to the cloud, right? But on the other hand, you can say, okay, yeah, let's move to the cloud, but let's implement some controls like monitoring, like encryption, like segregation of duties. Let's have some controls, some improvements, some monitoring with the vendor. Let's have maybe a multi-cloud environment, and then you are looking for solutions and alternative solutions instead of just saying not. That is something that we always do, and it's again with any kind of process that you see in a fintech company. They were talking about vendors, for example, previously. It's the same. When you think about vendors, you always want the vendor to have some strict security controls that they want to assure that your information is going to be safe. But again, you cannot say no. There are a lot of vendors out there that you can work with. There are a lot of vendors that you can uh, partnership. There are a lot of vendors that you need to see and to help that person to look for what you are looking to share, to look for what they are trying to implement, not just saying no. Okay. The second point that we have implemented is this, that is make everybody your friend. This is quite funny, but the point of this is make that people or make the people to feel important and critical for information security. In that part, we have implemented a group that we have called a security champion or security champions. These security champions is people that it's very involved in the business, but also in technology. And the objective of this is that you as an information security guy maybe focus in other things that it's purely security. But as you get this group of security champions, you will have eyes and ears in product and technology, in changes, in incidents, in improvements, in documentation, and many things that you can lose if you are just focused in information security. How can you achieve this security champion group and how do you make it work? Well, we have do it in this way. Every technology and product guy has an important role in information security. We create a security champions group. We meet with them frequently. We ask them about their ideas to improve our process or controls. We ask them how do they feel if information security it's been a stopper for them to quick release, to quick developing, and they are responsible for proposing controls and improvement in information security because they are the ones that are in the field getting their hands dirty with developing, programming, thinking, and innovation, and we need that feedback from them. Okay, so that's the first that we are doing here. We meet with them. We can say like it's once a week, maybe once a week, but it has been very helpful. Okay, but the second, well, The second point is not just to make the group with them. You can let them improve themselves by proposing this control and report these metrics, but acknowledge their job. I mean, one of the duties for a CISO is that they need to report metric and or any indicator for information security to a committee, to a board, to know how your security posture is going right now. Let's try to work in metrics or indicators that help also these guys. Like, for example, always we talk about information security metrics like how many critical incidents have been solved according to the SLA. Yeah, okay, that's very good. But what about if we have this metric in a more composite way and say how many from these incidents have have succeed because the change didn't go to the user acceptance testing? How many of these incidents have succeed because there were no QA testing? How many of these incidents or this vulnerability happened because the change management didn't improve the full configurations? That really gives you inside, well, first for the committee or for the board, the big picture of what is going on, but also to the security champions, how important is their job together with all the process of information security, not as a isolated process. Okay. And the third one that we have always working with is that this security champion group that you are facing or that you are working with, they need to be trained and conscious about information security. And when I talk about this is, yeah, they can take certifications outside are very good, but they need to understand information security for the company that they are working in. You need to train them, you need to make them conscious, you need to give them real examples or real scenarios that are happening in the fintech company that you are working for, to make them conscious about this. If you get these 3 points, we have seen that this has very, 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 very good results, and you don't get lost in that track of changes in products and technologies, in incidents and improvements in documentations. You are very, very aligned with this. This concept and this way of work, I have talked it with a colleague that is Santiago Hill. You can follow him. He is also a talented guy. So it has worked and give very good results. Okay. And the third part that we were talking about is that train and aware the C-level. There are many, again, in internet, there are many examples and many ways to do training and awareness for information security, but it is always focused on the user. I mean, for example, we see like impersonate the executive part of the company. Yeah, and we see it like the phishing email is just sent to the analyst, to the developer, but I have not, to be honest, I have not ever seen impersonate executives between C-level to C-level, like the CEO asking to the chief operating officer to do something, the chief operating officer asking the CTO to execute a critical change. I have not seen that kind of impersonation. So I think that it's a good way, and we have do it, and we have catch the C-level falling in these phishing attacks, right? Uh, Include the C-level in real scenario testing, like cyber gamification. This is a very good way of do training and awareness. This cyber gamification is when you put people in one room and you put them for one scenario. They have a specific time to answer, to respond to that scenario, but I have never seen that the C-level is involved in this kind of gaming, in this kind of awareness, to see what happened if the person is not trained, what happened if you don't have the correct tool or the correct configuration, the correct personnel in there to respond, and if that comes from a decision or an structural um, or from a structure that they have decided to implement in the company. The C-level must be included in all of these training and awareness. Okay. Spear phishing, yeah, we always talk about spear phishing directed to C-level, but in order to this to be successful, you must know about the business, you must know about technical stuff, you must know about the enterprise risk management, you must know about external environment and internal impact. Again, the C-level, maybe the CEO is going to receive an email, a phishing, talking about a fake AWS shipping, I don't know, but that's not what he is important in his head. So you need to understand what they are thinking to get them in track for information security. And the other one, and this is very good. I really like it because we have talked again about cost optimization, and the way that you need to convince the C level, it's not with implement technology at all. Uh, More mature companies, I have always, when I go to any information security webinar, people is saying, oh, yes, let's implement this cutting edge technology that now use artificial intelligence, machine learning, it's in the cloud, and blah, blah, blah. Well, to be honest, at least in early stage in a fintech company, you need you need to get focused on process. You need to get focused on how is it operate. You need to get focused in basic controls for information security, like optimizing endpoint users, like understanding that cloud is not just the responsibility of this vendor. There is a shared responsibility model that you need to implement. There is many things that you can do going from basic and have this baseline of controls very mature, and then go to implement technology. And trust me, when this come to cost optimization, C-level loves this part. Okay, so again, you need to improve yourself, go further in FinTech, you need to think out of the box. Okay, and well, does it work? Well, at least we have tested this model of work in Mexico with five fintech companies. They passed from zero compliance to ISO 27001, SOC 1, SOC 2, and privacy compliance in less than 5 years. One of them got authorization from local regulator, even with this change in who the CISO reports to, why the CISO reports to somebody in technology. We show indicators. We show how we pass from high risk to low risk. We show we gain tracking in all these changes with technology, with products, and it was an authorizer company. Four companies of this got from level 1 to level 3 with reference to the NIST cybersecurity frameworks in 3 years, and again with low investment. And this investment from the C-level and the board didn't really increase in first 3 years, right? This is what I was talking about before. You need to go to basics, put your process in place, role, responsibilities, governance, get tracking in this process in this agile environment. That agile environment for security is not just have or be included in sprints, in dailies, have your canvas there. That's not agility for security, right? We are now working in progress with 8 other companies to implement this model for working. It is going very well. And well, what we can conclude about this way of work is that we have achieved a holistic big picture of the business, infosec business, again because we are in the tracking of any change to the product and any change of the technology, but it's practically a fintech, right? And we are working now on how to stop being friend of everyone and getting now everything what happens in the company, because now the information security guy knows the legal guy comes with information security and ask for an advice. The product comes with information security and ask advice. The technology guys want to have meeting more frequently because they are facing some issues that they know that can impact information security. So for these companies that we are working on, the information security responsible has become a point of contact and a point of reference. And in that case, we are now working to see how can we implement this information security inside an enterprise risk management framework. Okay, so it's all from my side. Thank you. Hope I know it's quite different, not so technical, but I hope you like it. And well, do you have any question?
Let me check. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
great. Sorry, some kind of connection issues. Just not in time, of course, as usual. But thank you so much, Daniel. I just wanted to thank you for the insights. And I was just listening to you and thinking about like how wow, you have to go into really kind of a deep process establishment in terms of cybersecurity and establish a close connection between the cybersecurity specialist and every kind of role in the company. That was kind of a new information to me. I also liked how you showed risks everywhere and then substituted with the opportunities everywhere. That was like really amazing. I like the positive mindset changing. It's really cool. Thank you so much for the insights. I can definitely see a lot of experience in your presentation. It was great, but I also have a couple of questions, if you don't mind, and I will use chat so that you could read them and see them. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, perfect.
All right, we've got two questions. The first one is about an example, so let's start with it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. An example is it's about, for example, the change management and how are you involved in this change management for develop.
Can you see the chat? Can you see the chat?
Oh, sorry. Oh,
No, no, no problem.
yeah. Okay, just reading.
Yeah, so I will just read out the question. It's about a recent real
Yep.
world example of the cybersecurity incidents or some kind of operational risks that you had to mitigate in a fintech company, right? And what lessons were learned from it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have in mind very one specific incident that we have, and it represents a fraud, a very big fraud. It was related to an application that is faced to the customers, to clients. This was an internal in-house developer tool. They have make a very good developing efforts in APIs, features, and things like that, but they don't really consider how these APIs and endpoints were uh, requested and called it from the front end, and they were not considering neither the roles and privilege that customers had when they were operating this tool. How do we discover this? Through the change management. When we start making the analysis on how the change management worked, we identify that, for example, the QA tester and the developer guy didn't consider segregation of duties, roles, responsibilities. They didn't test it, of course. And the product manager just said like, okay, this is going to be intended for the analyst client that operates this company. And at the end, we see that at the front end, the not just only the analyst could invoke and request this call to the endpoint or to the API. It was called involved by any other clients, and it has it can be a request by another endpoint that was requested by another endpoint, and that was a very good mistake. What we learned from that is that information security requirements need to be taken into account from product managers, that there were no communication from product managers with information security guys, and the QA and technology guys didn't were really aware of all these security requirements. That's what we learned about them.
So
Okay,
again, it
I'm
goes
going.
back to establishing efficient communication processes, right?
That's right. Yep.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. And one more question for you. How can fintech companies strike a balance between innovation and security, especially when introducing new products or services?
Yeah, I think that responsibility really requires in the person responsible for information security, as we were talking about, because if the information security is not aligned with this kind of agile working, with the cost optimization that the company needs, with innovation that company needs, the information security guide is always focusing in you can do this, there is a risk in this, there will be an incident in this can happen, and that's not the idea of the information security guy. He needs to be in contact to understand what compliance guys need to achieve, what the technology guy needs to achieve, what the QA needs to achieve, what the product manager needs to achieve. For me, that's the really point, to establish a very good communication between these areas. And I think that in a fintech company, we have a very good opportunity to do this. I mean, this is almost by the book. The book says information security needs a holistic picture of the company. In big companies, mature companies, it's quite difficult because there are a lot of segregation of duties. But in a fintech company, it is a very closely team that works very, very, very good together. So you need to get involved with this process.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, definitely something I will remember for the whole time. I mean, like establishing efficient communication and sticking to the agility is really important for every business and especially important for the fintech businesses. Daniel, thank you so much for your presentation and for the insights.